continuing on with the character here, looking at this, I think the nose might be too wide. I think for Michael B. Jordan, I think the biggest part of his facial features is definitely going to be the lips. So I want to make sure that's more emphasized than the nose area. So yeah, I'm going to go use my grab brush and just kind of make it slightly smaller, narrower. Okay. And for this, I think the upper lip should be, I think the lower lip might be, yeah, I think it's thick enough, but I think the upper lip should be somewhat thicker. So I'm gonna go use my grab brush, just kind of lift this up slightly, like that. Yep. And I think could definitely add some more volume here. It's definitely too flat around here. Yeah, a bit more volume. Like that. I'm going to go to my Draw Sharp. This. And in here, I think I could make this more angular, like that. So I really want to focus on the lips because, as I mentioned before, this is the part of his facial features that I think gives him the most unique look. This is how you're going to be able to tell that is definitely Michael B. Jordan. Bring down my smoothing intensity, and just kind of smooth this out. Get some volume on there. Use the Draw Sharp, holding Control, and just protrude that slightly on there. And here, could add some of these. So for the shape of the lips here, we have the tubercles. We have 1, 2, think of these 3 shapes here on the upper lips. And the bottom lips, we have 1 and 2. And then we got the border of the lips. This is called the vermilion border. There, and also here, call that the vermilion border of the lips. So if you look at your character, you're definitely going to see that on the lip area. That's what I'm thinking of as I am sculpting this. And I know that Michael B. Jordan has that roundness on his face here. I'm going to go and increase my smoothing again. Further smooth it better. Right. So for this one, I think I'm going to move this up. Okay, and add some more volume here and smooth it. So I think for his face, we definitely see some bulk going on at the bottom part of his face, some roundness there. And I think I want to go ahead and kind of further emphasize it. Like that. And smooth it. So just make this, I just kind of made this area bulkier Let me go ahead and I'm using Epic Pen. So to those who are interested, want to know what type of screen pen I'm using, Epic Pen. Yeah, I had a few students ask me that actually. So yeah, right now I'm thinking about this shape right here. We got the nasolabial fold, and we got the lip, upper lip right here, lower lip, and then we got this beautiful shape here, round shape going. So really implement this kind of shape on your character. For some, it's going to be more prominent, and for those people, maybe for women, it's going to be more subtle. All right. And I think could go ahead and further work on the eye area. Gonna smooth this out. So I think for Michael B. Jordan, he has kind of like that nice bedroom look to his eyes, where he has that kind of like that sexy look. So something like this, and then I could go ahead and start to carve in the clay, so we could get more of the details, the forms of the eyes here. Still thinking about the basic forms, guys. That's what we're working on. So just carving this in, pushing this in. And when we push something in that much, we have to add more geometry here, of course. So I'm gonna go to remesh here, and I'm gonna set this to, right now it's at 0.01 for me. I'm gonna put it to 0.008, so it has a lower value, so I could get more resolution here. Here you go. As you start to do more and more of the eye area, you're definitely gonna need more resolution. I'm gonna go ahead and further push this in using the draw brush, the sculpt draw brush. So I'm gonna put an eyeball in here in a few minutes. And yeah, push this in. Okay, and can go to my draw sharp, and of course going to carve this in. So what you want to do is really this upper eye part, upper lid, is going to stick out a bit more than the lower lid here. So this should be kind of like somewhat overlapping on top of this, okay? And there's not much details that I could add right now, but we will add more of the definition of the eyes later. But just spend as much time as you can on this part of sculpting, just doing the basic shapes. It's the number one thing that you should focus on at the moment. And I think I could go ahead and bring down my draw brush, and gonna add some volume here on the eye and smooth it. Okay, and I think I could kind of think about his eyebrows, kind of have that like sad look like this. Sad, sexy look, I think. That's what he has. And I'm gonna go to my clay strip brush, smooth that. So kind of add some definition on the eyebrow here. There you go. So I think this is kind of what gives him more that sexy look. He has this eyebrows that's kind of somewhat sad and then kind of lifted up like this, and then you have the nice fold here on the forehead. Yeah, and you could definitely see it on this photo right here. You see what I'm talking about. Gonna have that look going, and then you have this, kind of make him more handsome. And of course, we're gonna make it look more like that. Right now, we're just focusing on the basic shapes, okay? Spend as much time as you can. The basic forms, you're not, believe me, you're just not gonna regret it, okay? You don't wanna go too far to add the details. The most time you're gonna spend on sculpting is on the basic forms, okay? Basically in this area right here that you're doing. It all requires a lot of patience. And I'm gonna go ahead, go to my remesh, and I'm gonna go ahead and bring this down. Maybe 0.0074. And I'm gonna go and remesh that. Cool. And looking from the side here, see more we could add. Yeah, I think for this one, I could go to, yeah, I could definitely push this in. That. I'm gonna go ahead and kind of mask this area out. And then from here, I'm gonna push that in like that. And here, it's too much, something like this. I think around this area, I could go ahead and add some more bulk on the nose here. And I'm gonna go to my grab brush and then kind of move this up. And I think I kind of made this slightly too puffy. Pull that back in. Right. And looking from here, I could kind of move this up here. That's just why it's so important to have really different views of your character. That way you could get a much better understanding of how the facial structure looks like. And yeah, definitely spend as much time as you can just working on the basic forms of the character. And for this, see here. Could kind of move this slightly down. Right. And I think at this point we could start to add the ear area. So we could have at least the basic shape of the ear. I'm gonna go ahead and let's go ahead and mask out the area where we're gonna pull out the ear. So maybe around this area here. And remember that the ear, keep in mind that the ear do not go past the brow ridge and it do not go past the lower part of the nose, okay? So just keep that in mind. You don't want it too long, the ear area. And you could see the jaw is kind of this way. So I'm going to go ahead, kind of move this, unmask that, and then just kind of move it this way. And I'm going to go into my smoothing, crank on the smoothing, smooth this out. And yeah, that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and mask out this area where I'm going to have the ear. This, Control I to invert it. Okay. So I don't want it to go all the way up. Yeah. Something like this, I think. Okay, so when I'm doing this, I'm already thinking of how the ear is gonna look. Maybe it's going to kind of look like this somewhat. All right, and let's go to our move here. Let's go to our mask, actually sculpt, set pivot to mask border. And keep in mind that the set pivot to mask border works by moving the move tool where you have last painted the edges of the mask, okay? Okay, and I'm gonna go and do it again. If you press undo, it's gonna go back to how it was before. So I'm gonna go set pivot to mask border again. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and pull that out. That. And maybe some more. Okay, and then Alt M to unmask that. I'm gonna go to my grab brush and just kind of start to move this, thinking about the ear shape. And I'm gonna go to my scrape brush and just scrape this area out. There you go, scrape that out. And you could see the ear is looking a little strange. You see how it kind of comes down like that. When the ear, you're supposed to have this angle, kind of like a V shape in there. And we're not having that right now, so let's go to our draw sharp. And let's go ahead and kind of push this in, carve this in here with the draw sharp brush. Okay, see how just by doing a little change like that, we could already see what's happening. Okay, and I'm gonna go to my grab brush and move this down. Now, if you look at the ear of your character, there are different kinds of the way the ear goes. So you could see with him, he has the ear kind of attached to the face area. See this? And there's some people, it's not attached at all. It's more like the earlobe is more hanging like this. And then you have this shape going. So really study the ear shape of your character. And you could also see there that we have the Y shape. This is what I'm thinking of when I'm sculpting the ear. I have the Y shape, and then I think of more like a question mark, like this. So those are shapes that I think about when I sculpt the ear, which I'm gonna go ahead and do that right now. All right, I'm gonna go to my draw sharp and just gonna do this here. We got the question mark. Let's go ahead and do the letter Y shape. Think of the letter Y shape. Push this in. I'm gonna go to my grab brush and move this up. So the way this works is we have this part of the ear right here, question mark part, going all around. And then I think of this other shape right here of the ear. It's kind of like a flap, somewhat covering the ear hole. And we have the Y shape, curvy Y shape going, letter Y shape. And of course, thinking about the earlobe here of the character, and then we have some depth. You gotta push this part in, push this part in, this part you gotta push it in, also this part you gotta push it in, which I'm gonna do right now. I'm gonna go to my draw sharp, crank up my draw sharp, and further push this in, also push this area in, and also here. Okay, and looking from this view, I'm gonna go and bring down my draw sharp, and here you go, smooth it, that. And I'm gonna go ahead and just remesh this, Control R. There you go. And could further indicate the Y shape area here. I'm gonna go to my smoothing and bring down my smoothing, smooth this out, and you want to smooth this just enough so that it will make it less rougher, okay? But at the same time, you still want to keep the shape there that you have sculpted. That's why you always got to mess around with your intensity for your smoothing brush. And look at this here. I think that the face here, I think I kind of made it a little too bony, his face on the side. So definitely going to add some more volume here. I'm going to bring down my clay strip brush, and I'm going to also crank up my smoothing, and then go back to my clay strip and just add some more flesh around this area using the clay strip brush. And also here, the temporal line is not as noticeable on him. It's not that noticeable, I think. So there you go. All right, and of course you could see there's a problem here with the side of our jaw. Okay, that's not how it's supposed to be. We're supposed to have the jaw, we have the ear here, right? And the jaw comes down like that. So that needs to be fixed. I'm gonna go to my clay strip and then just push this in. So just basic anatomy that we're thinking of right now. And then later we could always go back and work on the likeness, going back and forth between focusing on anatomy and then working on the likeness and so on. Okay, so I know for his ear, he has more an attached look for his ear. And also I'm gonna go to my brush here, my masking tool, paint mask. I'm gonna go ahead and mask this area out, and Control I to invert it. All right, I think this could be slightly moved back. So I'm gonna go to my move, and you just gotta move this slightly back like that. Yeah, something like that. I think it's too much, just something like this. Go. Alright. And I'm gonna go ahead and add some volume here. Later we are going to protrude out. We're going to work on the neck. So yes, I think when I'm doing the face, I do like to kind of include the neck already pretty soon. That way we could further work on the overall shape of the jaw, see how the jaw is looking. Okay, and see what more we could add here. Oh yeah, so for the ear, I think for the shape of his hair, if you look over here, I would say he has somewhat of an elf ear, like sharp elf ear. So you could see this part. So I'm gonna go ahead and just kind of manipulate that to kind of make it more shaped like his ear. I'm gonna go ahead and mask this area out so I'm not able to touch this. I'm gonna go to my grab brush and just kind of move this way. Here you go. And then this one, I'm gonna go and pull that up like that. I'm gonna go Alt-M to unmask that, and then for the earlobe, I could make it slightly rounder. So at the beginning, you try your best to just definitely focus on the anatomy, and then you go back to your character and try to get the type of ear that you need for your character. Remesh that. Okay, and I think for this one, it needs to be just somewhat rounder. I think I made it too angular, like that. And I think I'm gonna go ahead and kind of indicate a little bit of the wrinkle around this area. We're not definitely too focused on the wrinkle, but I do like to add a little indication of that here and there, just so I know what part of the face I need to fix, and if I need to move anything up or down or make it wider. Sometimes I do like to add some indication already of the wrinkles. All right, and another thing that we could do is we could go to our viewport shading here, and we could set it to matte cap. And with the matte cap, you could click on this little sphere here, and we could play around with different types of material, and which will give us different type of lighting. If I click here, you could see what's going on. We see shadow here on the side, and if I go here, I could see the shadow right here on the side here. So I think just by looking at different areas, different shadow lighting conditions, you're able to further fix your likeness. All right, so here I definitely, you're never going to stick to just one material or one type of lighting. If you are doing something, especially doing likeness, you have to change different type of conditions, lighting conditions, material conditions, which is what I'm doing here. And I know that this has to be his nasolabial folds looking a little flat, so I'm going to go ahead and add a bit more volume here. Right here. And smooth it. I think I smoothed it too much. Smooth it like that. Alright, and okay, go ahead and add some more fat area, flesh here, and some flesh here. Just gonna smooth it. And I think for the cheeks area, could go ahead and add some more volume here. More volume in this area. Smooth it. More volume here. Now I think for the cheek here, I think I made it a little too wide, so I'm gonna go ahead and grab this like that. Yeah, it's too much, I think. Go. So he doesn't have a high cheekbone, and I think for him, he has this volume around this area, and then we don't really have a lot of cheeks to make his, we don't want to give him more. Some people, they have more of a Native American high cheekbones, and I don't see that in him at all. Yeah, and I'm gonna go to my clay strip brush, and more here, some bony landmark right in this area, and smooth it like that. Yeah, this is what's really good about having shadows here. You could better see what's going on with the character, and further work on the lightness as needed. Here you go. And I can also take a look at the head. Okay, so for the head, you can see for his head here, he has, it kind of slopes down, and then around here it kind of elevates. If you look from the front, yeah, you could even see that here too. Kind of elevates and then kind of slopes down. And I think that's what I want to do. I've seen the Creed movie, and the Creed movie is pretty good, I think. I'm gonna go ahead and I think I kind of already have that. Gonna go up, something like that. And if I go here and kind of change it, see what's going on. Yeah, and I think for this I want to go ahead and further indicate the brow ridge, give him more of that masculine look. Smooth that out. Okay. And I'm gonna go to my draw sharp, bring down the draw sharp, and kind of carve this in for indication of the wrinkle area. I'm gonna go ahead to my smoothing, bring down the smoothing, and just kind of smooth it. Alright, great. And I'm going to further enhance the part of his jaw here. Got the bubbly jaw going. And I think I kind of made this slightly too sharp. I think I could kind of further round this out. I'm gonna go crank up my smoothing and just smooth it. Alright. And going back to my studio, this is how it was before. Okay, and we're gonna go, yeah, I think we're making progress here, but I think right now I would say I am probably about 30% there. So you still have a long way to go for the likeness. Yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.